But that still counts as game number 3. But it will be technically
no, it'll be a
game
game 4,
right?
Yeah, the items will be different.
Okay, yeah. So who do you like here? We see I'm glad to see Sand King kind of coming back into the fray a bit. We saw a couple games in the Animator, not a ton of them, but honestly, he looked pretty good. And it was also against a PL in that game that I was casting, actually, which is interesting because is this more for the laning stage thing? Because, you know, back in the day, you would get Aghanim Scepter, the Caustic Finale would work on illusions. Doesn't work like that anyway, or anymore, I should say. So your thoughts on this hero?
Well, I was gonna say I think that Sand King doesn't lane particularly well against PL plus AA just because there's so much nuke coming out. It's really annoying. Even though he can clear through illusion, Sand King's level 1 through 3 is just terrible. But what they're doing on T1 is they're doing a solo safe lane Sand King versus presumably what they think is going to be the Tidehunter, and then they're going aggro with the Terrorblade, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, 23 Savage just trying to block these creeps at the very beginning of this game. We'll see how looks like the bounties are just going to go each respective way, so just an even trade, which, you know, typically in a game 3 situation, it's not, you know, loser doesn't go home or anything like that, but obviously a very important game. You typically will see players play a little bit safer, not a whole lot of level 1 action, at least historically speaking.
Safe at level 1, but aggro tri-laning is almost never safe. If you lose, there's nowhere to farm because you can't go to the safe lane. You've got this extremely high-level Tidehunter who is actually running towards top, so they predict the tri-lane on VP, and they match the lanes.
Okay.
Although it's Sand King versus 2 melees, I think if you're Sand King, you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, he's actually getting the Burrow Strike off pretty early in that bot lane. And the fact that he can just hug this tower will, as we see Kingslayer taking a lot of damage top. But, I mean, talk to me about this. So this was the switch up that you were kind of talking about, but at the same time, being in the cover of your own tier 1, I would assume would allow Sand King to at least get a couple early levels without any fear of death.
Yeah, and being against a Clockwork, too.
Oh, wow. 20, yep, he's in meta. That means the damage is online. Whitemont trying to chase to get a little bit of vision for his carry player, and with the Earth Spike, it's going to ensure that first blood goes the way of T1.
Well, you don't expect a Terrorblade tri-lane to get first blood, but with the Lion's Impale, you know, it's enough.
Yeah, I call Impale half the time, Earth Spike the other half. It's a struggle city, my friend, as you're literally checking the name.
I see.
Impale is now Nyx's Assassin, which
Okay.
is not in this game now, although both spells are basically the same. And,
Same
you know, for people that were wondering, they actually were both called Impale for majority of Dota. So it's okay, I forgive you.
Okay. As long as you forgive me.
You can point out any mistakes that I make during the game.
Gaben will never forgive me, though,
That's
for
true.
getting that wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unforgivable for him, for sure. Okay, so bot lane again. We see the Sandstorm come out from Cuckoo. What is actually the skill build on this hero right now?
You basically go for just a value point in Caustic if you want to harass, and then generally you want to max out the Sandstorm, just because I think the best timing you can play around right now is to defend your tier 1 towers with the Sandstorm. People are doing that already, and Sand King's just the best hero at doing that in Dota. So people are maxing the Sandstorm, and against all of these melee heroes on the side of VP, it's going to be pretty easy to defend towers with the
Save.
Sandstorm.
Yeah, he's pressuring a bit, gets the cogs off before the wave comes through, so extra damage with that battery assault, but Whitemon will be fine in the end. And the mid matchup we haven't really talked about, Windrunner versus the Viper. Windrunner, kind of this, it's a polarizing hero, I feel like, in the community. It's not just Slacks. I know a lot of people want to meme about it.
It's not that polarizing. It's just him.
It's maybe he's just doing it to such a high degree that it seems like it's polarizing
yes.
everybody else.
Vocal minority, as they say.
Yeah, that's Reddit in a nutshell right there,
see.
I guess. But what are your thoughts on the mid matchup, Viper versus Windrunner?
It's supposed to be Windrunner favorite. I remember when at the Major we were talking about this exact matchup, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Windranger, of course. You have the Windrun, so you don't get hit by Viper." But then the Viper won the lane. You just chunk out so much damage over time that you
only slow them off so often you can actually activate
Exactly,
it, right?
exactly. It's too much damage over time.
So very little mana to speak of in this VP bottom lane. As Carl getting pressured out a bit. Still another 30 seconds to go before he can get a water rune, so we'll traverse into his triangle to get the bounty instead. So he'll be happy with that, of course. I mean, the build on Windrangers these days, just the Maelstrom, and past that, it's kind of up in the air. It feels like it's very game dependent, which is kind of It's cool when you can just base it off of the game instead of having some cookie cutter build overall.
I think this game, you really need a BKB for Windrunner, as well as the TB. Once those items are picked up, they have a way of playing into this Tidehunter. Right now, there's nothing that they can really do to deal with this Tide. As well as Clockwork completely dumpsters Wind Ranger in the game. Not so much TB, but just the fact that he's this disruptive magic damage guy, you still probably want a BKB, especially against the Tide as well.
Yeah, despite the, I feel like the first wave or two wasn't looking too good for VP in their off lane here. As we can see, the Earth Spike from Whitemon Connect to just take save out of the lane for now. But you can see Nightfall is doing more than fine. 24 and 8 in the CS department. And Cuckoo, on the other hand, I mean, because of this, because of the ability for them to actually move the lanes, actually going to get pressured here. Might be too much damage. A nice save from Whitemon to start things out here. He's getting blocked by the illusions. Beautifully done. Gets the burrow strike off into the trees, though. They have just a little bit of vision for Kingslayer to finish him off. It'll be just dandy for VP as Nightfall. Okay, he's actually going for the... Okay, that was a nice move. Very nicely done from Nightfall and Kingslayer. VP... I mean, we kind of expected Sand King to lose the lane, but at the very least, the Cuckoo did get some good farm in the meantime. I mean, that's kind of a saving grace, I feel like. Because is that one of those heroes that you just don't want to be behind on, or do you feel like they're getting stacked from? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sand King, as long as you're getting levels, you're pretty okay. One thing that has changed with this hero in the last couple of years is that his laning really isn't good. It's one of those heroes that people have an idea that it has good laning, but it doesn't. You need like level 4, level 5 before your laning is really good.
Carl has just out of range from save, so ends up lucking out there. Battery Assault not quite in range, so no kill in the mid lane. And finally the sentries come through to de-ward this Sand King lane so you can actually use that Sandstorm to a high degree.
I don't think so.
They're pressuring Carl quite a bit. You can see the level disadvantage here. GPK was level 6 before Carl. And we already saw the Viper Strike come out, so that's why Carl was so low earlier, as the top rune not available here. Nightfall with that rush. Ooh, actually blocks with the Spirit Lance. I don't know if he intended that, but that was... Is that RNG, actually? I don't even know, with the illusion coming out.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, but he's had some already pretty high-level moves in terms of that micro in the game, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's not something you see very often.
23 Savage is going to get caught out here. Battery Assault inside the cogs, more than enough, but here comes Carl to try to get some reciprocation. It'll only be a support, though, but at least they get something. Cuckoo, inside that Sandstorm, still gets that burrow strike off on a Nightfall. And you can see, even though Cuckoo doesn't have as much farm, he is out-leveling PL right now.
Yeah, you know, it's a hero that can farm up jungle stacks. He's been left kind of alone. It's a big commitment to kill a Sand King into a Sandstorm. I do think it's a fairly easy kill. It's not the tankiest hero compared to before. It's not the hardest hero to kill. Okay, 23 Savage TP'd into this.
Viper Strike, 23. He's only level 5, so there's no Sunder, no counterplay whatsoever. Carl ends up TPing after the dead body has already been shown. Now Cuckoo being spotted by the Sentry. Burrow Strike on the other side. He's doing a lot of damage to Nightfall. I have to be careful here, but the Cold Feet does proc. Kingslayer continuing to get the right clicks down, but Nightfall not feeling comfortable with this, so we'll just have to back out. Yeah, the fact that Terrorblade has died twice.
Yeah, it's a problem. This is the issue with the aggro try, is that the thing is, okay, he's a TB, so he can go jungle. A lot of other heroes that couldn't jungle, they would have this problem where they've literally nowhere to go, because you go mid, you die mid, you go to the safe lane, you die to the safe lane, because there's a PL who's really huge here, as well as an AA. You can't play into the Tidehunter, right? So his only play is to go jungle, and I think going mid was...
Oh my god. Epicenter. If he gets the Burrow Epicenter, that is a definite kill. Baiting them in here a bit. Don't think he wants to go for the AA. Not worth. I mean, if you can kill PL, that kind of saves the game to a degree for Terrorblade, who doesn't want to fall too far behind here. But
yeah, if you put the PL behind, then the TB has somewhere to go. But the thing is that hero is perfectly fine at jungling. So I think 23 probably just identified that, like, okay, I should not have gone mid like that.
That save will be caught out here. He gets Whitemon inside his cogs with the Battery Assault applied as well. Cuckoo trying to make some space, gets the Epicenter off, but the Burrow Strike misses. Nightfall with the Doppelganger will be fine. Wonder if that would have been enough damage. Maybe. Kingslayer now getting pressured in the meantime. Looks like the Earth Spike will ensure that at least T1 gets somebody.
Whitemon had a follow-up Pex, so if he does hit that Burrow, he would have... They would have gotten the kill. And the thing is, it's awkward because you're against a PL, so going for this Caustic Finale, it makes a lot of sense. You want to pressure, but just because of the fact that there's so much nuke damage coming out of VP, it seems like Burrow Strike 2 points might have been the play.
Yeah, level 1 Burrow Strike is one of the worst spells.
It's really terrible.
It's basically melee only. As we see, actually GPK and Kingslayer are here. And of course, I'm assuming they have sentries. Indeed, they do. Cuckoo staying around a little bit too long. So that'll be essentially a freebie for VP.
No catapult or anything like that, so it is just a kill. I mean, obviously you don't want to die if you're Cuckoo, but it's so much worse as a Sand King to die when there's a catapult wave, because your whole job is defending those towers.
Now, Whitemon, save. Is he going to be in range? The cogs are there, pushes them up into an area that isn't allowed by Gaben himself. But on the other side, Carl with the focus fire. DM misses the Ravage, and Whitemon is actually surviving through this. The power shot connects. Kingslayer's dead instead. Somehow T1 have turned this around. Maybe they can turn it around onto DM himself. They're going to focus on to the PL for now. Save looks to be the first to fall here in this little mini engagement. So 2 for nothing. Carl, okay, this will be an even bigger kill, though, for VP. He's getting slowed perpetually. The blocks attempt from Cuckoo, not quite enough. And now the Viper Strike he has to worry about. Burrow Strike with the melee range. And after all of that, VP still gets 2 value kills off of a missed Ravage.
Well, Nightfall again with the body blocks on Wind Ranger. I mean, that was just... You don't see a PL having this much impact early on because, to be honest, people just farm. They don't really use the illusions for their max potential, but Nightfall is. Also using the illusions to tank the tower for the creep wave and taking that out as well. Like, this guy's just playing a completely perfect PL so far.
Yeah, I assume from T1's side, they're like, okay, he just missed Ravage, we can fight now. But maybe a little bit of miscommunication overall. As you can see, Whitemon just barely, the 0.2 seconds on the channel. Oh, man.
How does he get knocked over to the right from there?
Because that's how Dota works.
Oh, all of the illusions.
Because there's nothing.
There's nowhere he can go.
Yeah, you can't go on the cliff or anything. So
Gaben was not happy.
Only Arteezy could fit up on that cliff, I think.
That's true.
Valve has coded the game specifically to make sure that
at this point, it seems like they have.
Now, Maelstrom almost done on the Windrunner. Now they're actually going to get the smoke here. See if they can find anything. 2K advantage for VP so far. As DM with the hood, Arcane Boots, Bracer.
That's a tough kill, though.
Next item is Blink, but he is completely surrounded. We have the Epicenter not being fully channeled. As you can see, the Hex actually canceling the TP. Yeah, that's a good attempt into the Finger of Death. Don't think is that enough for the charge on the Finger of Death? Yes. How many seconds do you get after that?
It's quite a few. It doesn't even say. I mean, hold all.
I mean, it's a tooltip. I would.
3 seconds. You get 3 seconds.
Oh, that's quite a while then, yeah. I thought it might be like a second and a half. Okay.
No. Hard kill to get, but a really important one because Tidehunter is not like a Timbersaw. Well, I mean, to some degree it is, but if you die a couple of times on Tide, you become very killable for the rest of the game. Timbersaw, it's a little bit harder. And then there are other heroes that, like, no matter how many times you kill them, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it did require 3 ults, as you said.
Yeah.
But definitely worth, in all likelihood, as long as they don't fight in the next few seconds.
Yeah, you can fall off on Tide and just become a Ravage, though, if you die a couple of times, which feels really bad. Because the hero, it feels so much better when you can play like this frontline VP tank.
Yeah. All right, VP are grouping up, so yeah, the smoke comes out as expected. PL now with the Diffusal Blade. We'll see how active Nightfall actually wants to get, because like you said, he's been more active than we're used to seeing, and that's a full 3 minutes faster than the average. Wow.
Oh, how did...
That's quite good.
How does Carl know? Did they smoke on a ward, or...
Cuckoo... okay, maybe he does know.
Carl with the game sense.
Yeah, so the smoke, okay, they might find the kill instead onto Zephyr. We're going to see the Ravage is going to connect on 2. Be a nice, easy cleanup for VP on Zephyr here. As we see the Burrow Strike connect on the Clockwork, we see 23 Savage gets off the Metamorphosis, which means DM has to be a little bit careful here. In the meantime, Carl with the Focus Fire, he's able to get the AA, but he might take the Viper Strike in turn. We have the Sunder available, not sure. Carl getting extremely low, though. And it's going to be a 2 for 2 to start things out, because now the chase is on to GPK.
Oh, Kuko's a haste.
Yep, haste rune. Burrow Strike in 5 seconds. He has to be careful. He's inside the Sandstorm right now, and the right clicks will be enough. So T1 end up getting a ton of kills in this fight. And 23 Savage is back, Jenkins.
Yeah, that's a really cool call from T1 to take that fight after losing a hero right at the start. Without getting any spell off on Zephyr, they're still like, the Ravage is more important. They have no Ravage. Let's just run at these guys. Like, they're diving our towers. Then they get a haste on Cuckoo, which really helps out, as you can see, just dying right at the start.
Yeah, no Curse available, no Cold Embrace, although, you know, we've talked about Cold Embrace and it's...
Like, look at Carl. He just goes in. He's like, I'm just going to take this AA out. And if he survives here, I mean, that'd be completely devastating for VP.
I mean, Sunder was available, but that's not something you want to do. Especially when you're starting to finally come back on the Terrorblade.
Right before Carl dies, he hits the...
Man, I love these guys. They actually have the best celebrations mid-game, for sure.
His boy Carl, sacrificing himself for the greater good.
I guess so.
Shackling right before he dies, suiciding in.
Carl does have the Maelstrom, but, you know, if you look at the farm right now, not doing terrible, but definitely not up to par in terms of just the mid lane matchup as of yet. As we see VP now going to town on this tier 1 tower.
Huh, without Ravage, too. T1 could fight this, but it looks like they don't want to.
Hook shot connects. AA Blast is coming. I don't even think we've seen this spell this game. Curse is going to be try to counteract this, and the right clicks from Viper. More than enough for Whitemon to take a tumble. So this will be a tier 1 tower for VP.
Yeah, T1 were just trying to kind of poke there while VP were pushing that to delay it. But they saw Cuckoo on the ward top, so they know that that was not something that T1 was supposed to be able to do.
Zephyr getting chased now. Gets the Arctic burn off, trying to go to the high ground, but this is too much damage. Attempts the TP as well, actually. As you can see, DM not too far away from Blink, but on the other side, Cuckoo does have his, so...
Yeah, that's what they were doing. T1 was trying to delay for Cuckoo to get his Blink, but he walked through a ward, and VP identified like exactly what was happening, and so they just go completely beast mode ham because they know that behind the tower there's going to be no Sand King. So you guys, you know, you're not allowed to be here, so we're gonna punish you for this.
The fact that he's going Eternal Shroud on Sand King. Talk to me about this.
I like this build. I think the Sanjin Kaya Eternal Shroud build on Sand King makes him a monumental pain in the ass to kill in fights. You try to play into the Sandstorm with all of your heroes, and he's just healing for so much because of the hero lifesteal that you get.
That's awesome.
Is he really? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard kill. I mean, this he's going to get the burst strike just to be able to
rune,
steal the double damage, indeed. Yep. Shackle shot will not connect, however.
Not even going on this guy.
Yeah. He just, I mean, even if they get the kill, it's going to provide enough time for VP to counteract at the very least.
He's going to ravage you before he dies too, and then that counteract play is going to be just absolutely devastating. So good call from T1, just kind of poking there. You poke there, and maybe you get some forced TPs or forced rotations, even if it's just through movement.
After that rough start, 23 Savage is now top net worth.
Yeah, he's popping off.
Man, he has made a gigantic comeback in this game. Has the SNY Dragonlance. We'll be going for Scotty next. As we see the smoke now from T1 on everybody but the aforementioned 23 Savage. Oh, if they can find a value kill, this will help put them in the driver's seat for this game right now. But DM doing what Tidehunters do at this stage. Just tanking up. Oh, Cuckoo. Epicenter. Into the Burrow Strike with that Blink Dagger reveal. Nightfall gets really low, but there's no follow-up at all from T1. So perhaps a little bit of miscommunication as Save misses the hook shot.
Maybe that was a little bit of just trying to force things out. Like if he can force out the Ravage there, then that's a good initiation. It is a little weird when you see these forced...
Whitemon.
Oh, he's dead.
Yep, another cog. Very nicely done from Save.
Forced plays where you use ultimates can be a little strange, but I think it's worth giving these players enough credit that it's like probably if they went in with an epicenter there, there's some idea behind it, and maybe it was just called off like halfway as it's happening. It's like no, they're all behind there. Like, you know, we maybe somebody just has the inkling feeling that everybody's behind there and it's not a good play, you know, or that maybe they didn't see the PL's hood, something along those lines.
Either way, not on the same page.
Yeah, hard to say.
Which is actually not something we like. I think that's the biggest strength of T1 that we've seen throughout the major in this tournament, is that they've, for the most part, whether it's the disengage or the fight itself, have been on the same
Yeah,
page.
they usually go in together, they get out together. Exactly, so.
Hook shot available again for Save. One of the biggest quality of life for Clockwork, historically speaking, is that cooldown reduction. My God, used to be so long.
Yeah, I was bad.
Not going to have vision to cancel the Zephyr TP, and it looks like nothing will be found.
Both teams have such good reads of each other in terms of these smoke rotations. Like every single time they're getting pinged out or scouted on a ward, and it's not really resulting in anything. All of these team fights are starting from just these long-range initiations of either Sand King Burrow Strike or the Clockwork Hook.
You know, Nightfall, I mean, he's not to, you know, obviously 23 Savage is having himself a great game so far, but on the other side, Nightfall is pretty much dead even.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he is. He has the Diffusal Hood. We'll be going for the Manta style next as the AA Blast on top of the hookshot cogs. Will net VP with another solo kill here.
Yes,
they have a lot of good solo kill potential in this lineup.
They do. Save got so much XP from that, from just being the only one in range there. With the AA, it's really easy to kill any of these heroes. Even the Wind Ranger can die to you if you're Save with the AA Blast until the Wind Ranger gets the BKB, which presumably is why T1 is not looking to like really commit to these fights right now, because they're close enough to the Wind Ranger BKB, and 23 Savage isn't even going for his own. He just wants to tank up and outrange the magic damage, which is something we've been seeing for quite some time now. This Dragonlance build lets you just be outside of the Ravage, outside of the AA Blast, and he is going for one eventually, because that's not, you know, a full solution, but it is partly a solution.
I mean, he has the next 3 items, maybe even more, queued up in his inventory. I love it when players do this.
I mean, if you're Terrorblade, you can do this, though. You're going to get those items.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. If there's a TB jungling, you're just losing. The only other hero is Luna that will jungle faster than a TB, but then TB in the late game beats Luna anyways. So it's like, yeah, TB feels like one of the best carries right now in general.
Yeah, and we see a fight here. Cuckoo get AA blasted. Burrow Strike's not going to connect on anything. He just gets picked off. So again, another solo pick off for VP. But I mean, I feel like, again, Terrorblade, he's getting through almost every single game. Like, he is in almost every single game, Jenkins, and it's not even first 2 picked. Why is that? Do people just want to, do they just assume he's going to get nerfed so they don't have to worry about it anymore? Or?
I like Gov's idea on this. It's the fact that a lot of these supports that people are picking really enable a lot of random carries, and so there's too many cores that can be played in any position. Like, you see an Axe, you don't know if it's offlane, you don't know if it's carry. You see a Lesh, same thing. So it's just not worth banning the carries in the first phase, because they're going to get something that's good. So you may as well just ban out like the Enchantresses and the supporting heroes that you don't want to play against. AA as well.
Yeah. Which we are seeing. Yeah, that's actually true. The AA has been pretty much perpetually banned after the first couple days of the major. And this is the first time I feel like I've cast him in
Nyx
quite a
as
while.
well. Heroes that block things, heroes that enable things are kind of what you want to ban out, because there's too much that's just extremely good in terms of the core roles.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes Dota interesting. Obviously, you want the game to be fully balanced, but having heroes like Viper, which is also one of these picks where if you get it yourself, that means that you can pick up heroes that actually Viper is good against, because the other team aren't able to actually pick them at all to begin with because of that block pick, essentially.
When you first said that to me, I thought, wow, this guy smells. I don't know why I'm listening to him. But then I realized, like, you're totally right. It's
when did I tell you this? Months ago.
This was like NADPC season 1 or something. You had this theory, and it's funny. It's like it's progressed to the point where you see it almost every game. You see like the counter getting picked, and then immediately something that it hard counters. That was the whole story through the major with this Nyx Assassin.
Wow, that's a lot of credit being given. Thank you.
Yeah, but you really needed to take a shower that day. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I apologize for that. As we're going to see the Roshan taken out. So PL will have that for himself. And that was the first of the game. So we'll see what kind of damage they can actually do with this Aegis. We've seen we've seen everything out of this Roshan in this patch, I feel like, because so much emphasis on number 2, but this first Rosh, we've seen teams, amplify the farm. They just get all the outer towers. They constrict the map.
Yep.
And then I feel like this last series that we watched, it was the complete opposite. They got a little overconfident. It was wasted.
True.
And then T1 comes back and just absolutely destroys them.
Yeah, the difference between that game and this game, though, is that game, T1 had really great area control heroes where it doesn't really matter if there's an Aegis or if there isn't. If the enemy team is going to fight into your area, you're just going to win, no matter how many lives they have. As Zephyr,
yeah, he looks fine.
Yeah, he loves doing this. He's one of the most annoying side lane pushing support players that I've seen. Like, he's always making so much space.
Yeah, these heroes that are able to traverse terrain can have a huge impact. As long as they're able to push the wave as well, they just very annoying to deal with. I mean, Hoodwink, we've seen. Obviously, that's a bit more polarizing. I mean, Wyvern can do so much more.
Why is Hoodwink polarizing, though? It's just because NA picked it. So it's like, oh, it must be shit.
Well, it hasn't had the best win rate this tournament, at least. But that doesn't really mean it's still a small sample size in the end.
Of course, of course.
As Nightfall going for the Heart. Super tank build, 3.5 minutes left on the Aegis, so we'll see again how many outer towers they're able to secure.
So to cite my fellow analysts once again, Aoi has this idea that the first Aegis often is what you want to use to just extend the farm that you can take on the map. And we can see Nightfall.
Carl, focus fire with the BKB onto the Tidehunter, but the Kraken Shell into the Ravage is there, attempting to run away as BKBs galore are popped. PL in the meantime on the other side of the map here, or the side of the fight I should say, is Whitemon getting pressured, but there's a nice burrow strike into the right clicks from 23 Savage, trying to find the real PL, but remember, this is just the Aegis, even if they get him. Cuckoo, mana being drained, 23 Savage forced to TP out. Burrow Strike doesn't even have enough mana to TP anymore, so just trying to create as much space as possible. But this is going to be the third kill for VP, and still they maintain the Aegis.
We can kind of see there why certain teams, including both T1 and VP, but I think VP is one of the best teams at this. Just, oh, okay, Zephyr?
Zephyr?
He should be fine.
Again.
There's no stuns, so
yeah,
he's just delaying the Aegis push by a little bit. But playing up into high grounds like that, the problem is you don't know who you're going to run into. So the very first people that Carl runs into, it's Tidehunter and the guy with Aegis.
Yeah.
Neither of these heroes are good kills. And this is exactly why you don't run up high grounds. It's not even about that mischance playing into high grounds. It's about not knowing what is waiting up there for you. And if VP has their wits together, they're going to have the heroes you don't want to run into standing there in the location where that's where the enemy team is going to run up. And this is precisely why teams, if they do go up a high ground, they go for some like wraparound play. So T1 kind of taking a bit of a risk there.
Yeah, and he basically had no good choice on the focus fire either. It was Tidehunter who didn't even end up dying because he's so tanky and still gets off the Ravage just because of the Kraken Shell. And then, or PL, you can focus fire, which maybe you would have killed him, but that's the Aegis still. So no good choice for Carl there. He has forced to pop the BKB. Burrow Strike into the Epicenter. AA Blast will clip Carl. The Epicenter really not doing that much. Again, most of the damage done to a hero that still has Aegis. Big hook shot from Save, but not able to really turn this into anything else, as it looks like he's going to die inside his own cogs here. Has buyback, but this is not looking like much of a push now from VP.
A nice save plays from T1, and T1 is also the type of team, the way that they fight is extremely backline protecty. That's not a word, but they always protect each other.
Backline
and so
protecty.
If you're gonna jump into base like that against T1, I think it's pretty safe to assume that probably both of the supports are going to be there. The panel talked about it. These two guys are playing together constantly, and they're involved in every single play on the map for the most part. And there they were, once again, in position, able to save.
So what exactly did they get with this Aegis? They won one pretty big team fight that we saw. They got the tier 2 bot, have obviously a little bit more map control as a result. So the lead has extended, or has it maintained? What was the lead?
It's extended a bit. I mean, the farm that VP are taking are in the triangle of T1, and this is exactly what Aoi always says with this Aegis, is that if you're this PL player, you can play up extremely far with this Aegis because you have so much time for your team to come and save you after the Aegis despawns. And he has a heart now, so he's a big juicy boy.
Yeah, he is bursting at the seams, as it were. Save does get the bounty rune. Cuckoo is just going to leave him be, it looks like. And Zephyr is also in the area. And Save has had this Aghanims queued up for the last 10 minutes. He definitely wants this. So that is the overclock mechanic. One of the coolest Ags in the game for sure. Save, okay, they're gonna spot out Cuckoo. He actually uses his Blink and Burrow Strike already. They're gonna pop the dust a little bit prematurely. You can see that Zephyr on the sideline gets the curse, but GPK doing a nice job at just sidestepping to make sure that neither of them get stunned for very long.
He can't TP out.
Yeah.
There's a clockwork hook.
BKB, Viper Strike, goodbye Cuckoo. That's a BKB extended, or expended as well.
Yeah, Cuckoo knew that there's no hope just going for a TP there. If he burrows, it's really obvious exactly where he went, so. Oh my god, Zephyr's such an annoying player.
Yes, he is.
He lives for these moments, though, doesn't he?
He's going Aghanim Scepter. What? Awesome.
Chad.
Very cool. That gives you the constant Arctic burn and allows you to apply it more than once. But it does cost you mana per second.
He's going to go for the next wave.
Yeah. All right, talk to me about this. Is this for split pushing, like so you're always off the map so you never get caught out? Or is he actually going to transition? Because most times I see this as more of a right-clicky type build, which isn't much of a thing because of the changes to Winter's Curse.
I think what you mentioned, the split pushing with it, is an extremely underrated element. I can say that as a... Oh, he is going down.
Finally found here inside the cog, Zephyr. I mean, honestly, he's done work, though, to be fair. This is one death out of, how many did he dodge? Like 3, 4 different times?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good odds.
He forced the clockwork TP too, and that's the disable on VP. Aside from the Tidehunter Ravage, that is really the only disable they have. So
True.
forcing that TP is quite important.
And so 5K net worth lead now for VP. And next rush, we won't know for a little bit when that is up, but we can see that things are definitely going the way of VP right now. But we've seen T1 come back from much larger deficits before.
Yeah, you cannot count this team out. I mean, they seem to enjoy playing from behind. I don't know what sick and twisted players these are, but they love it.
They probably just watch your channel.
Nobody watches my channel.
That's not true. I know that T1 specifically watch your channel. They're big fans. As we see, a Halberd actually picked up on the Tidehunter. So that is going to be pretty big against TB if you can get it off in time. Or even a Windrunner for that matter. As we're seeing some... Well, there's a smoke from T1, but they're not super close to anybody right now. You can see Cuckoo kind of pumping that epicenter. Another great quality of life change. The fact that that is not truly channeled anymore.
It's so good. It's legitimately so good. You can fake people out with it now, like the Pango roll. People
that's true.
underestimated how big of a buff that is to send.
It only took literally 15 years for that to become a reality.
Yep.
But yeah.
And yet it's still not that good of a hero.
Well, I think once they put that mechanic in, they wanted to make sure that it's not too broken, right? So they had to balance it a bit in that favor. And maybe we'll see some tweaks in the future, as Nightfall is very close to finishing up an MKB, which is going to be pretty strong, especially against the Butterfly from 23 Savage.
Wind Ranger, Butterfly, 16% evasion talent, as well as... Are there any Halberds? Do we Cuckoo? No, Cuckoo's going for Shivas. Okay, yeah, so still, he needs the MKB this game because he's going to be the primary hero that's dealing the damage to the Wind and the TB. GPK is going for 1-2, though.
Scotty now picked up by GPK, so he is extremely tanky right now. Actually, third in net worth as a Viper, not too bad. And I mean, the fact that he's 3K higher than the counterpart mid, I think is the more impressive thing than anything.
Yeah, this new build on Viper with the right-clicking, not only do you farm incredibly fast and gain map advantage because you're just this hero that hits towers from really far away, like a Drow Ranger, it scales so well.
Yeah.
It's so strong in the late game. The combined slows of the Scotty and the poison attack, the magic resistance reduction, the break, the damage, it's nuts. It's really hard to fight into Viper.
All right, T1 are fully smoked and looking for a fight. You see Whitemon getting some D-ward action here, faking things out a bit as save in the vicinity. They're going to spot the cogs, I do believe, yeah. And they're going to be spotted out now. And it looks like that's just going to break up the entire smoke entirely.
Oh, VP, they smoke up off of that.
Yep, and we've only seen a couple Ravages this game.
Oh, they see Cuckoo, but
very patient.
They're dodging him. They want to go for the back line.
Haste Rune's actually be taken by Cuckoo, but big Ravage onto 3! Looks like the AA Blast will follow suit. 2 dead instantly in favor of Virtus.Pro. DM. Nice Ravage, buddy.
Yeah, that was a cool call. They could have gone on Cuckoo there, but they know that if he's standing in front like that for T1, it's very likely there are people behind him and he's the bait. So they wrap around a little bit farther and DM just jumps in blind and Ravages and ends up getting 2 people. He just
I said 3, but the other one was an illusion, and I don't discriminate. The illusion counts as a person to me, okay? As we're going to see the second Roche.
There's actually a ward, by the way. He saw
taken
that.
out. Yeah, VP's going to get this. This is going to be the Shard, Aegis, and Cheese. And who takes the Shard is the question, but we'll have to find out very shortly as, yeah, Cuckoo and company from T1. Oh, the hook shot save finds him, and Nightfall should be able to, oh, they don't have vision yet. There's the dust. T1, Cuckoo, okay. He popped his BKB for that.
He BKB'd to take the dust off, and then the AA blast comes in, which gets the kill. So if he didn't get blasted, he legitimately would have survived there. But for what? He would blink out. He'd probably die anyway because he doesn't have a TP.
Yeah.
So he's going down either way there, but it is pretty interesting play to use the BKB just to take the dust off.
Yeah, I mean that's an 8-second BKB, so.
Good lord.
Yeah, very close indeed.
Oh, good Gaben.
0.2 seems to be the number of this series for sure. And you see the AA Blast coming in just to finish him off.
Chills.
I mean, he in theory, if they didn't have another dust,
He could have ran
the
back
AA
in.
blast. Yeah, he had Blink Dagger up soon, so
Yeah,
get out.
yeah. He could have gotten out, which would have been a really sick play.
Shard taken on GPK, by the way. So this is the minus armor poison attack, and can apply to towers as well.
Yeah, you see this come out the moment you want to take high ground. I honestly think the fact that you can hit towers is probably more important than the minus armor. Just magic damage to towers is never balanced. These things have such high armor. That's why your hero does so little damage to them. But the magic damage, no mitigation whatsoever.
All right, Zephyr has his Aghanim Scepter, by the way. Let's see how much difference it makes here. Of course, it's the biggest part about it is that Arctic Burn can be applied more than once. So you just take a buttload of damage. It doesn't really matter how tanky you are. It does percentage based. You see the Doppelganger out for Nightfall. Still has the Aegis, of course, and the Diffusal MKB Heart Manta. He is fully loaded. And you can see with this GPK Shard, these buildings do not last very long. T1 looks like they want to fight. They got the Burrow Strike, but a nice hook shot onto 2 with the cogs inside the double BKB. Ice Blast to follow. Ravage comes out. It's barely going to clip 23 Savage as they focus all their efforts on him. He's going to pop his BKB, though, and get the Sunder off successfully. But they're kiting him quite well. He finally finds save in the end, but it's a 1-for-1. It costs him their mid laner. Nightfall, he is taking a ton of damage, but this is just the Aegis, remember. Zephyr, quite low in terms of the mana capacity. We'll see if VP want to disengage or not. The nice Hex. Again, the right clicks are something to absolutely fear for 23 Savage. Doppelganger to the low ground with the Finger of Death. All right, Kraken Shell procs. Epicenter finally comes through for Cuckoo, and it does secure them DM. But in the end, VP still get that melee racks, which is basically what they came for. And Aegis is down, though, so that's a silver lining for T1.
Yeah, another silver lining is they picked up VP's gem in that fight. So that means that this map advantage that VP has, that they were trying to translate into taking down all of the wards from T1 and choking them into their base, that's not going to be possible because Cuckoo has the gem. And 23 Savage is doing a lot of damage in these fights. He can definitely outcarry a Phantom Lancer. Just getting that Rax is not enough to secure you this game. GPK was, being an objective gamer, which is, he was being a good boy in that fight. His team was kind of diving like crazy.
Good, clean boy, yeah.
But it results in them losing the gem, which in this late of the game, it is pretty important.
Yeah, we see the Ice Blast beautifully done onto 2. Of course, they are BKB, but they're still affected by that after the BKB wears off. And you can see the Wind Ranger ends up dropping as a result of that.
Look at 23's damage, though. You really have to be careful here if you're VP.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of damage to PL, who has a heart and a ton of armor, and still, just because 23 has itemized almost entirely to do damage, like he is able to just, if they can get a follow-up stun there, I think he dies.
Yeah, and you can tell VP in that fight, their objective was essentially just to kill everybody else, especially once the Thunder came off. I mean, 23 Savage, you can talk about how much damage. He's also really difficult to kill if you don't lock him down completely. And I mean, again, we've talked about this before, but VP's lineup does not have a ton of lockdown.
No, they don't.
Hookshot, Ravage, and that's basically, I mean, cold feet if you get the proc, but that's pretty difficult to do.
And with any other carry, you'd be thinking, oh, okay, well, we have the Ice Blast, right? So just get the Ice Blast on him. He's not going to be able to Satanic. He's going to die in the 1v1 to our carry. Not Terrorblade. It's one of, I believe Brian was quizzing me on this. It's one of 3 abilities that goes through the AA Blast.
3 as in, like, giving you HP?
Yeah.
So it's HP removal, or I guess it's the opposite.
It's
HP.
Weaver, Terrorblade,
Terrorblade.
And you should be able to guess the last one because it's your best hero. Second best hero.
Spirit Breaker?
No.
My second best hero.
Your best carry.
Oh, Lifestealer.
Yes.
Wait, the Infest?
Infest.
Oh.
That heals through.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
I mean, I figured you wouldn't take damage, but I mean, it doesn't literally remove it. You just don't take damage.
These are BSJ Brian Cannabis facts, so be careful. I don't know if these are correct. These are what he.
You're saying
told
that
me.
you infest somebody while you're AA blasted.
No,
you will still
while
heal.
you heal them for it just plus 500 to their.
Oh, I thought you were talking about on Lifestealer himself.
Oh, I don't know if
because that doesn't make sense. I feel like
I didn't ask him for more insight into it because I don't.
Are you sure that's what he meant?
I don't care about.
Now I'm really interested in this because yeah, that makes sense because you're giving them HP that. It's like, what's the opposite of HP removal? HP giveth.
Yes, of course.
Giveth by Gabe and the HP. Giveth. I mean, honestly, that one makes a little bit more sense. It's not like a mech that's healing you. It's giving you the health. That's how I interpret it, at least.
Right.
But the healing on Lifesteal, I feel like that would not work based on the limited knowledge that I have over the past 20 years of playing Dota.
Yeah, I would assume that it doesn't. When it comes to these random mechanics that absolutely nobody should remember, I do trust BSJ. He is the primary source for all things
Yeah, so
mechanics.
make sure if it's wrong that you target all your hate towards him and not us.
Tweet at Brian Bannis Cannabis Dota. I think that's it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Easy breezy.
Man, this is a nice little flyby we got going here. We actually see the double
DD,
damage.
remember,
We're seeing some very good
Pretty
information.
important. Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
As we have the unpause now finally. Let's stay in that. Oh,
Keep it on that view. That was a...
Oh,
there we go. Look,
All right.
there's King. Wait, who is that?
Okay, that's maybe not so helpful. All right,
Nightfall. I get confused between Nightfall and Kingslayer because they both changed their names.
Yeah. Ilias and, the original. Actually, I don't even want to remember. No, don't tell me because I'm going to get it mixed up.
Okay.
It's hard enough.
I don't like saying the old names because I don't know if the players changed it for a specific reason, and I want to respect that, but I'm very stupid is the problem, so...
Based off a book.
What is? Nightfall?
Both of them.
Is it the same book?
I'm not sure. I mean, I would assume they both changed at the same time. It should be. But don't quote me on this.
That's a bold assumption.
9K net worth lead for VP as they are in the driver's seat, but they don't have Aegis. And I feel like if T1 has a similar fight to the way that they just fought, they would have won that without the Aegis there.
Yeah, I agree.
AA Blast comes in. That's a pretty, I mean, it's not the longest cooldown. That's a pretty big ult down, but you can see GPK again just sieging this tower. They have double siege as well, actually. So lots of damage done. We have the Burrow Strike with the Shackle connecting, but the Force Staff keeping Nightfall safe as this tower just melts. Man, this shard is crazy. He's running out of mana, but does have the cheese ready to go. And this is going to be a melee. They're just giving it up right here as Carl pops the BKB and the Focus Fire. They're applying all their pressure to GPK, and they'll get him successfully. Has his buyback available as Nightfall focusing on the backline supports. Not able to find a kill yet, though. He's going to shackle for now, Carl. You see the DM Ravage coming out into the follow-up hookshot, but where's the damage? There's the curse inside the cogs right now. They're getting Force Staff into the backline again. Still only a 1-for-1. Hookshot to safety, save. Another cogs to try to create a little bit of space here.
Oh, he got crit twice.
Yeah, but he's fine for now. He's going to get, actually, that's the overclock. We didn't even mention he has Ags. So finally did end up getting it, but because of that stun, Carl gets, again, T1 are kind of winning these fights, but they've now lost both melee barracks. I feel like they need to go just a little bit sooner.
Yeah, GBK's being an objective gamer here. This is the guy in your pubs that's like the highest rated guy. Everybody else is diving. He's just like, all right, guys, I got this. But you can see the damage from 23. This is, I mean, it's formidable. And Carl as well. Like, these heroes are doing a ton of damage. And Zephyr in that fight, he's using the Ags to just stand in buildings so he doesn't die to Phantom Lancer. It's really cool. Like, he's using it as a way of surviving through the PL, because he's never going to kill you if you're just flying over cliffs and in buildings.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
It's really interesting.
It's a very expensive item, but...
It is, but it's kind of making him immortal.
I mean, they have 3 really tanky cores, right? Tidehunter, Viper, PL. And the fact that you can also, you know, the HP percentage, it just stacks. It's really nice for that aspect as well.
You mean the HP on Scepter?
Huh?
Oh, HP percentage on the
Arctic
Arctic
Burn.
Burn. I see.
I'm not that stupid.
Well, I'm just thinking about every time I think about this Winter Wyvern guy, it's, oh, there's a Ravage. Oh, okay, that's God damn
yes,
it.
it's your turn.
Oh,
Thank
no.
God.
Oh, no.
Yes.
At least Cinderin's not here.
Thank God for that.
There he is, in the building.
Nice zoom in, yeah. Zephyr.
Why does anybody hire us?
We have the Burrow Strike. A Blast is coming from afar. DM is in the vicinity, but they're blowing up the PL. And down Nightfall goes, no buyback. Big curse destroys AA, and there's the fear from 23's Aghanim Scepter, and just like that, T1 find 3 enormous kills. What else can they do from here, though? Roshan not going to be up anytime soon. They need to get some objectives here.
Nightfall's down for 80 seconds. I don't see why they wouldn't just poke a little bit.
Yeah.
70 seconds on both of these really important cores for VP.
I mean, you talked about the damage on 23 Savage, which is obviously crazy. Now he has the Aghanim Scepter as well with the... Gives them that AoE fear, but in addition, you get the extra few seconds of Metamorphosis. But on top of that, I mean, you got Windrunner. Carl on Windrunner with the Daedalus He is dealing a
so
crap
much
ton of
damage
damage as well to single targets.
And against PL in the late game, you can't doppel. The hell's it? Focus fire stays on the PL, so it's one of the more annoying things to deal with.
Yeah, this is going to be a tower. I mean, if they knew that there was no buybacks,
they
maybe
might go
they could go for more, but they're going to play it safe because you have to assume in their case that there is buyback.
Yeah.
The focus fire on the building is actually going to back up for now. That's tier 3 towers down. It's 23 Savage gets that Metamorphosis off. This is likely to be 2 racks, so it might be an even game in terms of just the building aspect. Yep, the focus fire gets that melee rack, so that is 2 racks in favor now of T1, basically evening it up for all intents and purposes. Yep, hook shot is there. A blast to follow. Can they actually blow up? 23 Savage pops the BKB, but the right clicks are out of control. Crit after crit. Not the player from EG, of course. We're talking about the Daedalus. 23 Savage gets 4-staffed. Okay, there's the Sunder. Ravage comes off a little bit late, and 23 Savage is out of there. The spider legs save him, and now they TP out to safety after the buybacks have cometh. T1. Wow.
Dude, I'm telling you, you cannot underestimate this team in the late game. This is the only other team that rivals T1's late game decision making is LGD, I think. Like, legitimately, these guys are so good at playing to win, even from a deficit. Like, they do things like this split pushing on Zephyr to stay in the game just a little bit, and as long as they're not at a crazy deficit, they almost always outplay people in team fights in the late game. And what a scary team, man.
Yeah, even though meta's down right now, we talked about the fact that this this Aghanim Scepter, the Terror Wave, allows you to get that meta temporarily. So they could go for a quick pickoff here, which is possibly what they're trying to do here. Of course, Roche is up with the Aghanim Scepter inside. VP is currently going for it. And now with that Rocket Flare, T1 should know. And it looks like they might just give it up, Jenkins. It's going to be too late. So Aegis, Cheese, Aghanim Scepter. Who are we going to see? It's actually on the PL. We have to wait and talk about that in just a moment. Earthspike is going to connect. You can see the shard on Whitemont saving him for now. Burrow Strike to follow. But look at that damage, just out of control. But the big curse onto PL. Right clicks from GPK on the sideline, but you see the damage from Carl going right through it. Gets 4-staff to safety for now, but inside the pit they go, and the right clicks from 23 Savage are just out of control. GPK inside the pit is dead, but it will cost them the Wind Ranger. Nightfall, still with that Aegis. Looking very healthy right now as GPK's Courier gets killed with an MKB on it. See if that has any implications here. It is a mid for a mid. And everybody else on the fallback.
So close.
Yep, Cuckoo's just fine as well.
He has nothing defensive left, so if he got hit by that flare, he just dies and loses gem. He does a buyback, though, so it wouldn't be the absolute worst thing.
All right. Well, this game just got very interesting. 2 racks apiece. Aegis. And I assume Cheese still online for VP. And let's talk about this Aghanim Scepter on PL. This is one I've literally never seen. So Juxtapose, which
it creates
is his
max illusions,
yeah,
right? And
they last longer. And does it do anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah, it sounds, I don't know.
It's really terrible.
If you had the crit talent, it would be really good in theory, right? At 25, but it feels like a lot of people don't go for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it does seem kind of, I mean, it's a free Roche. It's from Roche, but you have to question. I mean, Tidehunter's Ags is way better.
It's really good. Armor reduction on everybody and that constant spam.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been one of those situations where they just took it real fast, maybe.
I don't think they were expecting to get Roche totally for free there. I think they were probably thinking they were going to fight it at least at the tail end there, because it's 44 minutes into the game, 2 racks down on both sides. Roche is super important at this point, right? So you don't expect to get it for free, even with spells down. There was no Ravage, so...
Swift Blink now, by the way, on the TB. And we mentioned that GPK's Courier did die, so another minute 40 before he can get his MKB. As we're going to see Burrow Strike with the Eon Disc, allowing him to use it. Attempting to TP out, but the second hook shot to follow because of the Aghanim Scepter. Kuku's still fine thanks to this curse from the sideline. The Ravage on just 1 here. Nightfall trying to take out the Winter Wyvern. Somehow the Clockwork is still surviving throughout this onslaught.
Detection?
Looks like Zephyr will finally fall. He does get up the Colon Brace, which will just delay the inevitable. But that was a Ravage for a Winter Wyvern, Jenkins.
Yeah, and VP, they already TP back to stop this split pushing. 23 is making it so that VP, if they want to go high ground right now, all they're going to get is a couple of ranged racks, and you might get megas by 23. So really good positioning from him on the map, making that Ravage essentially a waste. If they don't get any tower off of that, then I think you don't want to Ravage there for only Zephyr.
So that is a Spell Prism on DM. So you do have CDR. Doesn't have, like, he probably would go for a Refresher next is my guess, but it's not really remotely close.
Yep, there, he queues it up.
Doesn't have the 25 talent yet with the CDR as well. Man. But if T1 doesn't take advantage of this timing, then it really won't matter, right? Because you're still going into Aegis, so it's not like it's a given.
I think, yeah, I think if you're T1, you're pretty happy with how the last couple of minutes have gone. There's an Aegis against you. You can just get there's a real possibility that either team just gets the old run down mid and lose throne if somebody dies without buyback. So it's a real tense situation and favoring VP because of the Aegis temporarily. And so if you can delay that on T1, you're super happy with this. And Wind Ranger late game, I think, is a real contender for one of the best heroes in the game. Once he eventually gets this Aghanim Scepter, which shockingly he's not going for, maybe expecting to pick it up from an eventual Roche.
Yeah, let's just extend. I mean, hey, we're already at 45 minutes. Why not make it to 6 long, man? I'm in for that kind of a game for sure. As we see the Swift Blink here. Highest amount of last. Oh, we're going to see the hook shot. It's going to miss here from save, and the Blink is going to save 23 Savage. That could have been really bad. He was actually all alone. And he is, in fact, going for the Refresher Orb now as well.
He's holding the building damage leveler in the backpack, so that way when they do end up running to that high ground, they can.
This is where Spider Legs just. We talked about this before. Just having boots not have to take up a slot is so invaluable.
Spider Legs are legitimately better than if you don't get a boot item from the tier, whatever the last tier is. Spider Legs are just the best item, neutral item, period, for carries. Especially with Swift
Flicker, Flicker might have the advantage. You get a decent, not quite as much move speed. But
it's good though. Flicker's good as well. Yeah, those are two good, really good neutral items. It's gonna be smoke on smoke here. It looks like.
Aegis is gone, and T1 knows it. Cuckoo. You can see the Stormcrafter is actually giving away where he is, although he's in Sandstorm now, but was smoked initially. All right, this will be a ginormous fight. Only a 3K net worth lead for T1, but basically even right now for all intents and purposes.
Oh, T1's walking right onto a ward here. They have to be careful. Okay, Zephyr has the D ward though, so.
Yeah, Zephyr being spotted on the cliff here. And both teams being very careful as there's the fear that's coming out with the Finger of Death. PL is dead. 100 seconds does have buyback. Will expend it immediately. DM now on the run. You see the hook shot. This could be pretty big with the A blast coming as well. But there's the Sunder just in time. But 3 stuck inside the cogs. This is a lot of damage coming through now from VP. And will this buyback end up saving them in the end? They do find the Terrorblade. He does have buyback right now. Zephyr's getting focused. GPK doing so much damage on the sideline here. 3 for 2 with a buyback onto the PL. Another buyback to come from Kingslayer himself. And they might just try to go for Throne.
So what Cuckoo's doing is very important right now because you don't have meta on your Terrorblade for the buyback.
Yeah, you don't have Terror Wave either, so literally no way to meta.
Yeah, so we have 50 seconds where there's not really much of a great way to defend, but the advantage is that there is a tier 2 still alive, and that means that VP can only go Throne, and this bot wave pushing in is a real problem for them. They have to Throne right now if they want to get anything.
This is the only play. It's going to take way too long to go top. And they still have this range racks to get as well if they want to go for Megas eventually, but that tier 2, like you said, still standing there. There's the Epicenter Burrow Strike combination. Focus fire with the BKB on Carl. Not enough to take out the Sand King. He gets 4-step to safety. But VP, looks like they're just going to play it safe, Jenkins. They forced the buyback on the TB, and I guess that's enough.
Yeah, GPK TPing back. Does not have boots of travel, so yeah, VP have to leave.
I mean, they blew up 23 Savage once. They just need to do it one more time. That should be game. Of course, getting that tier 2 top would make things a little bit easier in terms of your options to finishing the game.
Yeah, that thing is the bane of their existence right now. At this point, I legitimately think that the play is to go backdoor it. They do enough damage that they can. That's one of those things where the play is not... It's a very strange play to make, and it's only something you can make at like 45+ minutes into the game. But if this thing was gone, they would have Megas right now.
Now, Eon Disc on Phantom Lancer here. As we see the game has been quite crazy. This is living up to the hype. And again, these teams could find themselves playing each other again in the grand finals, depending on whoever the loser facing the OG versus Alliance match will be. Or the winner, I guess, of those two.
It would also depend on the loser.
Yeah, that's true. That technically was correct what I said.
Yeah. You're always right in some way.
Yeah, in some obscure way, that is true, actually. Yeah, this is getting pretty hype. And we are 10 minutes away, Jenkins. I would love to talk about something very
I'm trying not to jinx that. I wanted to mention it at like 42 minutes. But I'm like, oh, if I say it, it's not going to happen.
This game, without the buyback on 23 Savage, if VP are able to pick him off, the game just ends.
And Nightfall. He does not have buyback either. So he went for an Eon Disc on carry.
Yeah.
Which,
that's true.
Notoriously, we saw Arteezy do this.
Oh, big Ravage. He has the refresher. Double Ravage into the kill. Dieback on 23 Savage. It's now turned into a 4 versus 5. I'm not sure if T1 have enough damage on top of all this. We'll just have to wait and see. GPK, they can play this even just a little bit slow if they really want. Nightfall, his Eon Disc does proc. You see the cogs locking in several heroes here. Carl inside, broken and brought down. Does have buyback though, but Sand King into the buyback as well as the building. GPK, objective-based gamer here. That is one tier 4 tower down. He's just going to focus the racks right now. They are going to lose the clockwork, but that is a buyback. And it looks like fortification finally popped. Maybe they just came off cooldown, but tower is basically dead at this point. All right, they have a couple of stuns applied with the focus fire to follow, but the disarm onto Wind Ranger gets the cold embrace to save for now. The several forceps are now even farther from the fountain. They can just focus the racks though in all likelihood. VP trying to turn this around into their favor. And VP look like they're going to the grand finals, Jenkins. What a freaking performance. Although,
it's not over
Wind
yet.
Ranger has something to say about this. A Blast not going to connect, but Carl doing so much damage to that BKB. This will be a dieback. Another cold embrace saving him. Burrow Strike's going to apply with the hook shot to follow. Only 2 alive for T1 versus the 3 of VP. Finger of Death doing a ton of damage in the meantime, but GPK pops to BKB, still going for throne, finds it.
Wow.
Oh!
Dude, on the